But Chapter 13, which is the social work profession, looks to the future. So we have studied various at-risk populations and our history of social work now. What does the future look like for our profession? So the learning outcomes are to explain how globalization affects social workers and social work practice, especially with everything being blended now and everything is starting to still be intercultural and mixed, which is always a good thing. Identify the major social forces that are transforming the world, whether it's political movements, economic movements, educational movements. Describe what the future social work profession holds in terms of employment opportunities and future challenges. So one thing I do know about social workers is that no matter what setting we in, we will always have a job. People, unfortunately, will have problems or issues that they're dealing with, and we'll be advocating and also having the ability to help these individuals. Professional competency, so we should understand the social, economic, and political structures and values may oppress or create privilege and power. So we're talking about the cause of all these isms, racism, sexism, ageism. Here, it's right there. So it's very important. Social workers should be enhancing their own and the profession's growth. So continuing education credits and teaching the new generation of social workers as you get experiences and advocacy. For our at-risk clients, we should apply theories and knowledge to understand the biological, social, cultural, psychological, and spiritual growth of clients. So our multidimensional framework covers that mainly. Always engage in policy practice at a macro level so we get the resources we need for our clients. And remember that the context of practice is dynamic, right? So, although we may be substance abuse social workers, we may be working with individuals who also have mental illnesses at the same time, or physical disabilities, or who may be children, or who may be immigrants. So, we have to always remember that our context is dynamic because people are unique and different, and no cultural system with the same problems is even the same. So, that's why it's unique and different. So, globalization is a sustained process that has been underway across the human history. It includes economics and the communication of culture, values, technology advances in communication and transportation and urbanization. So, this blending, this constant blending and mix, right? So, it does not move in a single direction. So, it's not up or down or left or right, but instead it's multidirectional. And I would also add to this very multicultural, right? So the United States, for instance, takes many different things from other cultures, and we're in this blended melting pot of cultures in which English is our first language, but people may speak second languages, and people, cultures, and norms are different, reflective of these various cultures, engaging in different urban settings and rural settings. So we also know that globalization impacts local and global dimensions alike, and not through clashing, but in recreating an entirely new version of things, right? So just because it was always done that way doesn't mean that it will continue. With globalization, things will change, and that's one thing that will be always constant is change. Okay. So the national and international strategic planning, you would want to review this. The United Nations 2015 report has various goals. I would suggest that you review each goal in detail and be aware of those. The same here. It talks about the goals that were not achieved, right? When it relates to HIV, environmental sustainability, and safe drinking water and basic sanitation. So please review those in this chapter of the book, chapter 13. So the major forces driving transformation of the world, we have demographic trends, right? Political forces, economic trends, technological trends and biomedical advances, environmental sustainability. It continues forward. Major forces driving transformation of the world from a demographic trend standpoint. We have a multicultural America, right? It's ethnic sensitive approaches, ethno conscious approach. But things to note by 2014, I'm sorry, by 2044, over half of the people in the country will be of a minority group. By 2060, approximately 20% of the population is expected to be foreign born. And the fastest growing population was the two or more races group, I would say cultural groups, which is expected to increase from 8 million in 2014 to 26 million by 2060. So there is this blend, this multiculturalism that's going on in America, as we see with our current politics. Some people may not like that because they may feel that they lack power or they don't have the same opportunities. And so we will be living in this, so we will be educating our clients and how to, live with this too and to cope and to advocate for themselves. And we'll advocate too through policies. So it continues the graying of America. So as people are aging, so population age 65 and older are expected to reach 83.7 million by the year 2050. This is the 2014 statistics. I believe it's going to be higher than that now. However, we'll see with the COVID, if this population is affected. Today's older adults are quite different from previous generations. So there's various ways. They have a higher level of education. They generally have a higher level of income and buying power. They're politically active, which is very true. And some have fewer disabilities. And if disabilities occur, they are better designed and equipped to handle those and to remain an active lifestyle. So they're very active participants. There's the involving of the American family, right? The thing to note here would be that as the population is increasing, the trend has been for families to exist, which has been relatively stable since the 1990s. However, the average size of family households is decreasing. And the thing to note is many grandparents are raising children today because drugs and incarceration have left parents unable to care for their children. So these are things in which those wraparound services are going to be important. The heightening awareness of this, and those at-risk communities is going to be very important as well. So we get these individuals the resources that they need. All right, so we continue the changing immigrant and refugee population. This is a huge topic today, so I would refer you back to the book to read more on this and to understand what immigration really is, asylum is, and what a refugee is. You will see this again, so I suggest that you really reference your book and read through this material. And then there's the major forces driving transformation of the world with the political forces, right? So the keys here will be, the privatization of social services, right? And also private practice, women issues, welfare reform and poverty, and political shifts they're going towards conservative leadership, which is where we were at with Donald Trump. We'll see what Biden leadership is. It's not going to be as conservative. So we'll be looking for the change, but we understand this trend occurs over time. There's also economic forces, the major forces driving transformation of the world, like underemployment, meaning not having enough, even though you're working and employed. Income inequality, we're starting to see that even more. The visibility of inequality and the wealth gap, we're seeing that. And income inequality, right? People are not making the same across the board, doing the same type of jobs. It can be different because of women. It could be because you're a minority or, you have a disability. And then the technological and biomedical advances, I would ask you to read over this. These are talking about the biomedical technology, like regenerative medicine, the Human Genome Project, and human reproductive technology. So it would be good to note these as well. Reference your textbook. Environmental sustainability is also a driving force, right? So we recognize that we are global citizens, although the current administration, which will be out in January 2021, has this American first thing, but globalism is here and multicultural America is here. So how did that work? I would say I don't think it worked pretty well, but nevertheless, he pulled out of the Paris Agreement. Please read about that agreement, though it was. There's a Paris Agreement on Climate Change in 2016, which is a very good reference point. And then we also need to be aware that social work is awakening to the enormous impact of the current and past environmental degrading on humanity. So looking at how the environment, how we treat it, is starting to affect us physically and psychosocially. So the future trends of the social work profession, this is great to note. So employment projections and social work shortages, of course, this is before the pandemic. I see that we are going to be utilized even more. But the Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported that employment for social workers will grow much faster than the average of all U.S. occupations throughout the year 2024. This may even be more so. Changing demographics in the United States and technological advances will create new and expanding opportunities for social work employment. Correct, that's true. As we different cultures have different needs, as society becomes more globalized and multicultural, social workers will be able to act or be part of different avenues. And then demand will be due to a substantial degree of the growing needs for social workers in the healthcare field with the aging population. The aging meaning our biophysical or physiological changes that the body has. So as the population is aging, they're saying that more social workers will be needed too. I see this now currently in the setting that I work as an administrator, and I can tell you that we will have a job as social workers. So please just get your multidimensional framework assessments tools done and get your psychosocial notes or progress notes as well. So please continue forward. The grand challenges and contributions of social work. So the grand challenges are thoughtful, critical, and focused and structured effort to identify potential efficient and effective strategies for solving some of society's most compelling needs. This is through advocacy, right? This is through exposure, and utilizing a multidimensional or multicultural approach as well to handle these needs. You should also reference the grand accomplishments of social work. Please review that in this chapter. Also, reference the 12 grand challenges and what they include. You want to reference those and be aware of those as well. So this is our chapter 13. This is the voiceover. I wish you all the best in the future, and if needed, you can always reach out to me. Thank you again. Take care.